Hi, Misha here, and kind of like we did with the Kalashnikov USA, the KUSA KR-103, we're going to do a two-part looking at the sort of new KP-104 pistol here. Now there is some good and bad, but before we get into that, I want to cut back to some footage I did earlier today, literally unboxing this by myself and my first impressions both ways, and then we'll cut back here. Moving back in time, this is a true unboxing. I have not cracked this case open. UPS just dropped it off. I just took it out of the outer cardboard, and I noticed something right off the bat. Latch, 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 no latch. I don't know how, but the inside thing isn't there. Looks like it popped out. There's holes for it. A little rod that goes there. Yeah, not sure. Almost like it wasn't installed in the case. But I don't believe KUSA makes the cases. That would be a bit much. So here we go. Cats love the desiccants. Locking manual. That's it here. And we did get a polymer mag as opposed to the Korean. This is from the latest batch, at least as at this time. They came in October 2022. And so here is our pistol fresh out of the box. Protector. Oh, one more card. And everything else. Interesting. Hinge and pin. Like you do. Front latch. So yeah, that's that. Turn on the light. On top of the little GoPro. Can you tell I just had lunch? Again, since this is my first one, it is my first experience with this guy. Looking at the safety I received. Unfortunate that, but not unexpected. But I will fix that. Alrighty. Just because it was closest to hand, I grabbed a WBP Fox jack safety. And it's not just that this version has the bolt hold open notch. It's because it is longer. Not by a whole lot, but noticeably enough. It also is cut out differently. Different notch here. That's because that safety is definitively for Sega 12/KS12. It is definitely incorrect. And it's interesting that they're shipping them with the polymer mags, but the wrong safety. So, drop the Polish safety in. It fits quite tight, actually. Much tighter than the wrong one did. And I did function test it. And with the trigger back, got here, and safety on, no go. And it doesn't spring forward when you're done, so it's working fine. Since we already have the top cover off and spring out, let's look inside. Standard bolt group. One of the benefits of the AK102, 104, 105 system, it uses a standard gas piston and gas tube upper handguard. Interestingly, there is the trip notch at the back of the carrier here. Standard bolt with a floating firing pin, non-ribbed, as you'd hope on a 100 series, and just the smallest amount of flex in the piston, but that will probably loosen up with shooting. So it went back together, no problem. The disc cover's got a little bit of wiggle to it, but no rattle, no up and down, just typical dust cover, frankly. Here are the rivets for those that care. The provided mag fits well. Wasn't hard to insert, doesn't wiggle around. It does come with the booster, spring-loaded plunger. Flipping it over. Here we have the other rivets for, again, those who care. Again, pretty surprised they have this spring clip in front, but not unpleasantly so, unlike the safety. I guess that kind of balances it out. Oh, and why didn't you tell me the piece to the case was laying on the table this whole time? Come on, guys. It's your job to help me out there. So yeah, that is literally unboxing, first impressions. Couple of good, couple of meh, well, at least one meh. With that, let's jump back to the future. And at that point, I'll have had probably more time to mess around with this and further opinions. Alright, so yeah, the safety issue. I'll get a better one later. Actually, I'll probably get a replacement because that's kind of bunk. But this one definitely fits tight, and it does work reliably for now. I mean, safety's a safety. But, yeah, that's annoying they do that. On the plus side, the bolt throw is good. Top cover is fine. Gas tube lever is stiff. Gas tube is stiff. Everyone likes a stiff gas tube. Got all of our features here. This button still does press in. It's a little different now. So that's there. It works. But there's another thing now that Jaro's here that I was kind of suspicious of it. I was able to confirm. This has the wrong rear sight. I don't know if all KP-104s do, or if just some have it. This is a standard AK100 series, i.e. AKM, 1,000-meter rear sight. This should be 500. In fact, let me grab one from behind my arsenal. 106 CR here. This was my AK102 wannabe. You can hopefully see that it does have a shorter adjustment. And the notches are on this side as opposed to the other side. So there aren't differences. Again, people who are out there, you can tell me, is that normal? Is that something that they mixed up like the safety, or are they just shipping 1,000-meter rear sights? I did look before doing the video, and as far as I know, the AK104, yeah, it's supposed to have the 500-meter like the 102 and 105. But with that, let's talk about the differences between the SLR series and the KUSA. SLR 106CR. So as I've said, the SLR 106, 107s, while cool, are not AK100 series. We've gone over all the differences in the past. Noteworthy, 4.5mm pin in the back, has this kind of skeletonized scope rail, no bump rivet up here, whereas of course on this would be a 5.5mm pin, different scope rail, and it has the flat bump rivet up there. We've talked all about that. What is worth pointing out though is the combo front sight. Now this one, to make it a carbine, has a 4-piece Bulgarian extended flash hider from CNC Warrior, but notice the lightning cut in the middle, the cutout for this Bulgarian combination gas block front sight base. And then notice the one on the KP-104. It's just different, the Russian style versus the Bulgarian. Same effect, but just they machined it differently. Same goes with the cleaning rod. As I pointed out earlier, there's a little step down for the Russian type cleaning rod, and the Bulgarian, while it is shortened, is just straight. And speaking to that, I was pleasantly surprised that this does have the correct AK104 conical booster brake. I brought out a couple of others. Grab them over here. Here we have a crank brake, AKSU. It's a little longer, with more chamber because of the shorter 8 and some change barrel. It also has a different place for the indexing of the pin so that it lines up, whereas this one is slightly more off. Set this over here. And here is an original Russian AK102/105, and you notice it is a same basic length. It doesn't have the extra step like a crank does. Now the AK104 of course has a larger opening for a 30 caliber versus 22 caliber. I just thought I'd bring these out real quick because Jero had mentioned how funny this one looked with the Bulgarian. But yeah, this serves as a little bit of a gas expansion chamber in the back, and then kind of an old school conical flash hider in the front. And now to that aforementioned KR103, which is of course an AK103 semi-auto with the folding stock. I had to put the correct mag in it because this one unfortunately came with the Korean knockoff mag. So yeah, it looks good having the correct style matte slab side mag in it. Kitten is jumping everywhere, and it is a metal reinforced mag, which is nice. And we've had really good luck shooting this. The difference between the two, these have the same length gas system handguard. They would use the same stock. The difference, well, should be the rear side, but still bugs me, is the front end. Both are still threaded 24mm long collar, but of course This has a 16 1/4 inch barrel. And this has a 12.4 inch barrel. So it is a true carbine intermediate length. And, you know, it's not quite 5 inches, 4 inches, 4.5, 4 3/4. But it does matter, not just in length, but also front end heaviness. You know, going to a combination block, that matters. It saves a bunch of weight. And this was the compromise, of course, they did to get away from the AKSU, the Krink, because of all its issues, and allow to use a more standardized stuff and kind of make a family. Now these, of course, were introduced by Kalashnikov, well, Izhmash Kalashnikov concern. Officially, they were designed in 1994 along with the whole Century series. But in reality, I don't think they really built the 104 until around 2000, 2001. And it's very much a limited use gun. Certain parts of the Russian government have purchased these. A few were shipped to Syria for their anti-terrorism. And it's said that Iran has some and that Venezuela has the capacity to manufacture them. A few other places have purchased them, but yeah, it's a pretty niche item because of the caliber. But that doesn't make it a bad thing. It really does correct a lot of the issues with the Krink there. So let's wrap up with some final thoughts on this KP-104. KR-103. One more mag for today. Alrighty.
Runs like a champ.
So as Jero just pointed out, length isn't everything. Width, depth, girth also matters. This is a little wider maybe than an AK-74. But what do I think? With the SLR 106 here, it's a mixed bag. I've been kind of a defender of these 223 Arsenals. I still think they're good guns, but their reputation for reliability and some issues, it is out there. I have put on a Sega top cover. I did chop the barrel down and add this. It's been a good gun, but I know it's not an AK-100 series. So there's that with it. But it is a good gun, it really is. And it was underappreciated when it was on the market. With the KR-103, especially after shooting it and having a good session or two, I like it. It's a AK-103. It's very few things I think could be improved upon realistically. Some people have complained about the riveting in the back and things like that, or loose covers and tubes, and that does happen with manufacturing. But overall, it's a dead ringer for an SGL 2194, which very few were available on the market, and they were always more expensive than the 3194s. So this gun, let me put the mag back in it just because. There was a gun, a Sega, kind of like this, but not really. It was called the SGL 22, and it had the combo block, but then it had a barrel sticking out to 16 inches, and maybe worst of all, it didn't have the folding stock or a trunnion. It had a fixed stock. So you could get an SGL 22 for a minute, but quite a bit of work would go into converting it into an AK-104 style. But what it is. I really want to like this one. And I think, luckily, if it shoots well, like the KR9, KP9, the other guns we shot from them, it'll be there. It does bug me about that safety. I hate to harp on it, but that's a thing. That shouldn't have happened. And the rear sight, too. That is such a thing to get wrong. I really am curious if they all ship like that, or if it's just this batch didn't get the right rear sight. Because, I mean, Arsenal did it with this gun. So, yeah. Luckily, just like the safety, popping off an AK rear sight, super easy. You just take a punch and pop it with the thing, and this just springs out, and you put another one in. So, if I do get the correct 500 meter rear sight, yeah, we can make it right. The finish on mine seems good. It's that more matte finish, but that's okay. The bolt throw is good. The trigger is that kind of semi-auto Sega Vepr style, which I like just fine. On the positive, yeah, we came with the right muzzle device. Mine times up quite well. Very little play in it. Virtually no front, back, side, side, just a little like that. Cleaning rods in here, nice. Hand guards are tight. Although I might replace those with Russian. I did get the right mag, so that at least makes up for one of the two oopsies. And while this cover has a little play back here, I actually did pull the Russian cover off this gun and put it on earlier, and it fit really tight. So worst case, you can always put a Russian cover on if you need to. But it's not going to come flying off on you. And I am happy that it is so SBR ready. I was not expecting this or even the full assembly back here. If I like shooting it, this might be an SBR. I was just going to put like a JMac folding brace on it, but that could change if I like shooting it. But we'll have to wait a week or so for that. We'll see. It's kind of hard to impress me with Kalashnikovs these days because I do own one or two, including Russians. But there are some that are just not obtainable, so it's nice that we can get them. I will admit that Kalashnikov USA, after COVID and all that, 2022, their QC does seem to have dipped a little bit. But they can still fix it because they also are putting out good guns. But a few things are slipping out of the factory that really shouldn't be. So call it a gentle warning. Now, if it keeps happening for several more months, then we have an issue. But every company, Arsenal, even the Segas, they had their moments of less than desirable QC. So there's that. But what do you think? Do you own a KP-104? Or maybe the SBR, the KR-104? Or have any one of you picked up the full rifle yet? Love to know. And maybe some of you still like the classic old Arsenal. Let's discuss in the comments. With that, I hope you kind of enjoyed this impromptu video. And we'll be back with a range review very soon. With that, if you could, please do like, share, subscribe. Check out the Patreon, yada, yada, yada. It's getting late. So we'll catch you very soon next time.